Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today I'm going to look at a couple different assets. Stick around and check it out. We have Theta Fuel still looking pretty good. I mean, we're down 10% today, but when you look at the chart, when you look at the weekly chart, I mean, it's like still very beautiful. We could see total 3 is down less than 1%. Theta Fuel's down about 10%, but when you look at total 3, on the weekly. I mean, look at that, right? I mean, we obviously back testing the bull market support band. We're looking sort of, like we're bottoming out. It's, grinding out a bottom in here. So it's kind of a wait and see situation. Do we start elevating to the upside, or do we start descending back down to retest some of these lows in here? We did get one wick through the bull market support band. So, it's kind of up to Bitcoin on what that is going to look like. But let's look over here. So we have the weekly candle. It's looking pretty decent. It kind of reminds me of something flagging out in here, I guess you can say. So, we could have another week, back down. As long as we're not impulsing down, that's the important part. We're sort of just correcting. It's still up for debate if we're going to come down to the bull market support band. I've sort of tipped my hat and said it's probably not going to happen based off a lot of the things we talked about regarding the altcoins testing their bull market support band. For example, when you look at Theta, it perfectly was testing it. Yes, we can come back down, right? So we basically move up, right? We come down, test, we move up. Obviously, we can come back down, test on a higher low, right? So we have a low, higher low, and then continue to march higher. In the event that we do push down, there's always the possibility for Bitcoin to sort of have a flash dump back down. And, again, that's kind of up for debate. So if that were to occur, we don't want total 3 losing its bull market support band. If it does, then we're probably going to come all the way down to back test this area in here. So somewhere around those 3 black lines. Actually, I would say these 2 black lines. But to me, it seems like we have a perfect shape. We have an A, right? We came up into a B. And now we're coming down into a C, right? So, or a W, X, and a Y. And we had a sharp impulse. Now we're pulling back. We want to find some support down in here. The worst case down in here before starting to grind back up. When you look at things like Litecoin, which I talked about yesterday, and look at Litecoin today, right? I made a Litecoin only video yesterday. I was sort of seeing something interesting. I talked a lot about it. Definitely go check it out. But essentially, I just had, like this warm feeling like do a Litecoin video. And I don't know why. I don't know what prompted me to do it. But I mean, when you look at it, we have a bullish daily engulfing candle. And this candle is going to end in less than 4 hours. And if we have this candle close above these closes, that's going to basically mean when you zoom in, right? Let's zoom in here. I mean, look at that. I mean, it's beautiful. It's funny how, we just were talking about it yesterday. And when you look at the rest of the market, right? Like, let's look at QNT. Right? When you look at QNT, I mean, it doesn't look like Litecoin, not even close. I mean, when you look at VeChain, it doesn't even look like Litecoin. I mean, Litecoin is like doing this, right? It's breaking above these highs up here. So Litecoin's chilling up there. When you look at the total market cap, again, Litecoin's up here breaking these highs, right? When you look at Ethereum, here's the high, right? We broke the high. Litecoin's up here. So XLM, it's a little bit closer, but again, I mean, Litecoin's looking pretty decent right now. So going back to Litecoin, you can see it's impulsing right now. I mean, we have a bullish, I don't know, maybe some billionaire watched my video yesterday and thought, hey, I'm gonna just go all in, right? I'm just kidding. I don't know. I didn't expect it to do that. I more expected it to do what the rest of the market was doing, but it's kind of nice that we have this pump right here. So, and even though I'm not necessarily holding a bunch of Litecoin, I do like to see leaders leading, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Matic, Cardano, Solana, a lot of the even other top 10 coins, right? I like to see them pumping, even if I don't hold them or anything. It basically, the more things that pump, like for example, HBAR had a big pump the other day, and you can say, well, it was a news event and it was a pump and dump and it wasn't true, but whatever. It's still, it still had the move, right? And it still seems pretty bullish, and we can talk about that either this video or the next one. But when I'm looking at Litecoin, again, I see this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a diagonal, right? And then I see this as an A, B that broke the top, and then it came all the way down in a C. So this is A, B, C. That is a massive expanding flat. And what's very interesting is we held the bull market support band, we broke above, we back tested it, and now we're pumping and breaking this local high here. So you say, well, I don't care about Litecoin, I don't hold it, who cares? That's not the point. The point is we want to see signs of life, right, in a lot of these coins, because eventually the rotation will occur to the coins we do hold, and honestly, we want to see Litecoin and other coins. I mean, this is the move down, right? So in between here and here is the gap. So it appears like it's breaking it. So I would expect Litecoin to get back up here, right into its sort of first area of the retracement zone. And that would be a good sign, right? Because we definitely have our work cut out for us, right? But again, I'm using Litecoin as an example for all of crypto, right? So if we, let me see if this is not on log scale. Perfect. If we get up here to this area, that would be around the 618 to the 702. So that would be a beautiful situation. And then once we get there, right, we'd probably find some resistance, right? We have some resistance in here. And we also have this sort of descending triangle, right? The breakdown, and now the attempt to come and reclaim it. Once we get up here, if we get up here, remember, nothing I say is financial advice. This is all educational, speculational, whatever, At the end of the day, anything can happen. But if you go back and watch a lot of these videos, we've been pretty good, pretty on track with a lot of things, especially on the bigger picture with all of crypto heading into the retracement levels, the Wyckoff structures, the breakouts, the back test. So it's been pretty good so far. Now, nobody has a perfect track record. Eventually I will get something wrong, but so far it's been good. So just keep that in mind. You want to always have a broad sense of ideas, not just from my channel, but, I don't recommend just listening to one or two people. I would definitely recommend listening to maybe 5 or 6 or even more, maybe 10 people. And just to kind of feel like, okay, what are people thinking? And sometimes, right, like for example, if you listen to 10 different analysts and 7 of them are bullish, right? And the 3 are bearish, right? Sometimes it's the opposite, right? Like you ever see those polls people put on Twitter, is Bitcoin going to 60,000 first or 70,000, right? And everybody will say 60,000, and then it ends up going to 70, right? Kind of like that. So that's the kind of the thing you got to keep in mind is usually whatever the masses are saying, it tends to be the opposite. Not always, but sometimes. So for me, I think, I don't know what the sentiment is out there. I would imagine a lot of people are somewhat bearish right now. I mean, with all fairness, Litecoin did have a pretty big drop, right? When you zoom out, for example, like Theta already broke its range, right? Theta is way up here. It's sitting way up here, right? So it already broke out. Theta fuel is back testing and it's up here. So it would make more sense to me that Litecoin is recovering. So on the smaller time frames, you know what I mean? So, for example, when you look at something like Dogecoin, right? Even if you don't like Dogecoin, it's still a meme coin that's leading, right? Whatever Doge does, whatever Litecoin does, whatever specific coins does, even though, like I said, you don't hold them, you don't care about them, they are indicators for the charts we do care about. And that's kind of the important thing to understand. So, like for example, Litecoin came up here, and then it sort of came all the way back down, right? And then it starts to pump up. So Litecoin's way down here, hasn't broken its range yet. That could be a good thing, that could be a bad thing. To me, I look at it as more percentage potential, right? I'm not saying go and buy Litecoin. I mean, it's very slow. To me, when the time is right, I think Litecoin would be a nice hold. And for more on that, I just definitely go back and watch my previous video on Litecoin. But we got some work to do. You can see real quick some of the things I didn't get to mention yesterday. This is our baseline right in here. So this is where most of the price action occurs. You can see up here, look how big this area is up here, right? This is kind of like the forbidden land up here. When we come up here, we have these sharp pumps, sharp dump, sharp pump, sharp dump, right? Sharp pump, sharp dump. So the thing about Litecoin is, what I would say is, once we break 130 to 145, I would say between 115 and 135, once we break this zone in here, right, and it could happen fairly quickly, right? Once we break that zone, I would consider taking a long, because there's a lot of, not a lot of resistance. I mean, there is from these waves in here, but not nearly as much as in here. Like when you're in here, you're grinding, it takes forever. But if we can break out of here, I would expect a big pump to the upside, up into these retracement levels, probably around that $230 area. So it'll probably about $100 move from here to here. So, and even potentially higher. And if we can do that, then the statistical probability of us breaking out completely, let me put it to log scale so we can see it a little better, it greatly increases. So, I mean, the percentage from here to the all-time high is about 360%. Again, it would just be something to think about for me once we approach that. Sometimes you miss it. Like last cycle I was eyeing a couple coins and you kind of forget about it, and then boom, it's already too late. But yeah, I like what I'm seeing with Litecoin right now. Even if it is a 3-wave move, it doesn't look finished to me, right? If for example, if Litecoin's gonna die, right, which I don't think it is, but I'm looking at it as 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2. Where's 3? We still need 3, right? So I would expect 3 to get somewhere up in here, and when we slice through here, it'd be pretty quick, and then a 3-way pullback, and that would be wave E. So it'd be A, B, C, D, E, and then go. So I want to see what happens in here. And again, why does this matter? Who cares about Litecoin? Because any coin that has that amount of history, right? It's on all the mainstream media outlets. When you look at Fox Business, they got Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin on the screen, right? Like, who cares about Litecoin? Why not have, XRP or a top 10 coin that, people have, a bigger market cap? When you look at Litecoin, I think it's like 6-7 billion. When you look at Solana, XRP, it's well over, I think, I can't remember what it is, but I know it's over 30 billion for Solana. So, the reason why is because it has the longevity, it has the brand recognition. It's on it's like basically on every single exchange. It's been tested, for a long time. It's been out. I mean, goodness sakes, when Coinbase launched, I remember downloading the app, and I remember Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin on the app. That was it. I think I have an old screenshot of it, but it was basically bland. The graphics weren't that good. It was just 3 charts or 3 assets, right? And at the time, I think Litecoin was like $20 or $30 or something. I can't remember. But anyways, it's been around for a while. So that in itself, right, it's kind of like a classic crypto, right? So even though it hasn't done anything spectacular, nobody really talks about it on social media, it doesn't have the hype and the fuzz and the buzz around it, whatever. The people who, are trading this, or I should say, the people that are holding this have a long-term picture. Litecoin did not get to participate in the bull run like a lot of these other coins. It's basically been building a huge base in here. So the reason why I'm sort of talking about Litecoin over the last couple of days is because I think it's a very important part of the puzzle piece, right? A lot of people talk about the prices of different charts and things like that. But, trying to figure out where the market is going is like kind of like a jigsaw puzzle. You want to have all the pieces. And I think Litecoin is a very critical piece to this. It doesn't mean go out and buy it. It doesn't mean hodl it. I think it'll do well. But I think, what this is doing here in regards to, the phases, right? We have a rise, we have a crash, we have a 3-wave retracement, we come down into reaccumulation, and now we're going sideways. And we have this move up, this move back down. We broke above the bull market support band. We're back. We back tested it perfectly, and now we're starting to pump. And you can see, let me go to the daily candle. Look at the daily candle, right? And now look at the total 3 daily candle. See what I mean? It's definitely different. That doesn't mean anything, right? Look at XRP, same thing. Look at Doge, same thing. Look at let's see, Theta. Kind of the same thing. Again, VeChain, it's, the same kind of thing. They're kind of waning. So I'm focusing on Litecoin because it's definitely telling an interesting story, especially when you zoom out and it being in the final reaccumulation. So what does this mean, right? Where am I getting this at? Well, I mainly talk about Bitcoin, Theta, Theta Fuel, and XRP, and a few others, right? Those are the ones my audience likes. That's the ones, the people who subscribe to my channel are that, right? So that is my base. That is who I'm loyal to, right? So my job is to figure out, the best I can is to figure out XRP, Theta, Bitcoin, right? So Litecoin to me, again, is that special little key that can unlock certain things. So, when I look at this, you know, think of it as the price of Theta, right? Litecoin is Theta. Litecoin is XRP. Litecoin is Bitcoin. Litecoin is all of crypto. And then vice versa, right? Vice versa. So we have a beautiful W. We have a beautiful W. Wait, where's the rest of it? Right? We have the W. We have the W. Where's the rest of it? We still need the rest of it, right? This is a classic W shape. So if that's the case, right? Because think about it. If Litecoin can do it, right? Because nobody thinks of it so highly. But if Litecoin can do it, then definitely why not Theta? Definitely why not XRP, right? If Litecoin has this impression like it's going to do that, then the rest of the market will surely do it, right? Because Litecoin is not one of those coins that move alone. It needs the rest of the market as support. But if the rest of the market looks very similar, like look at this chart and then look at total 3. It's completely different, right? And then look at Theta Fuel, right? A lot of charts I would say look like this. Like if you look at H bar, we have the move up, we have the move down, we have the base, we have the breakout, right? Same thing with Theta Fuel. We have the move up, we have the move down, we have the base, we have the breakout, right? When you look at Dogecoin, or even Theta, we have the move up, we have the move down, we have the base, we have the breakout, right? When you look at VeChain, we have the move up, we have the move down, we have the base, we have the breakout. Most of the coins look like that, right? So when I'm looking at most of the charts, a lot of them are telling the same story. But if you're trying to get a read on what the story is, you kind of want to look at a different chart that might be telling a different story or might be giving you confluence in the story that we're really trying to tell, which is, for me, it would be Theta and Bitcoin and XRP. So that's kind of where I'm at. So just to wrap up the whole Litecoin thing, and I'll be finished with it. Basically, I'm looking for the price of Litecoin to start forming its shape here. So we have 3, we have 3. I want to see it shape up here, and we would have a nice W shape. If that's the idea, now this is the weekly chart. Doesn't mean it happens today, tomorrow, next week, or even next month. It could take time, right? I mean, we can come back up and then 3-way pullback and then come back up, right? So it could take time. But the point is the direction, the macro direction is somewhere up here. Then what that does for me is when I look at the entire altcoin market cap, that gives me confidence and hope that we still have much more to go, because we are, whether we like it or not, we're at a very dangerous area for the altcoins right now. We are right in the middle of the retracement level. Now, I've been bullish. I've been thinking we're going to break out alongside with Bitcoin. But you can see, right, we had a bull market, we had a bear market, right? We came all the way up and we hit around the 618 retrace. So we're right in the middle of the retracement. We back tested the bull market support band. The big thing is, are we going to flag out and continue, or are we going to go down slightly, maybe not too much, into reaccumulation? So basically doing something like this before breaking out. So it'll be rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, breakout. Well, that question lies with Bitcoin. And with Bitcoin, right, we have something a little better, right? We have the all-time high, and we're right in the middle of that all-time high. So can we have any indication of what Bitcoin's going to do? Well, so far we have 1, 2, 3. So it could technically only be a three-wave correction. We need this to break out. Once we have that next wave, then it becomes very sort of a lot of confidence that the altcoins are going to push past their 618 and 702 retracement. Once the altcoins get past that 702 retracement, I mean, it's on like Donkey Kong, right? That's sort of the moment we're all waiting for, and that's the moment we're trying to figure out. Because, what if we have a black swan event and the stock market dumps, 3,000 points, and nothing can escape the grasp of this massive black swan liquidation event type of situation where it just basically crushes the structure, the market structure of crypto. It could totally happen, right? In that event, I don't think that event's going to happen. Obviously, you can't plan for those events. Eventually, something like that will happen. Let's just hope we're beyond, beyond our price targets before that happens. But if something were to happen like that, this right here would be the area. So 31K. I think if we can break out of here, I think we would probably, depending how high we go, we'd probably never visit 31K. But I think we probably will at some point. Now, if we get past, 100K, you got to think about the next bear market, right? So if we have another bear market where, let's say, this thing pumps up, and then it gets to 150, something like that, we pull down into a bear market, and then we continue higher. So that's kind of how I would look at it, right? Is something like that. If we had a black swan event, I could see us capitulating very fast down in here, right? But it would be something like, C19, where we came up, we sliced right through it, and then bam, we went to the moon. So we came up, we slice right through it, then bam, we go to the moon. So, that could totally happen. And here's the thing, nobody would expect that. Like, put a poll out on Twitter. Does anyone believe we're going to 31K? Nobody does, right? So that's kind of the thing, like, that could happen. Crypto, you kind of get complacent for a while. And we haven't really had any major dumps like in here, right? So this was a pretty big dump. Let's look at the last cycle here. We had some pretty nasty dumps. I mean, this one was pretty big, right? This one was pretty big, but they all came down to the bull market support band, right? So when I look at this, we haven't even tested the bull market support band. Now you can argue, the halving and the ETFs and the bullish momentum. But if you look at the comparing, the cycles, we are definitely ahead of schedule, right? And people say, oh, that's a good thing. Well, it is a good thing, but that means that we could lag out for a while so that, we can, the previous cycles can catch up with what the price action is doing, because we've never gone from a bear market low to the all-time high that fast. So, that could be a little bit concerning. It could be looked at as a good thing. It could be looked at as a bad thing, right? A good thing meaning we're very bullish. We have a lot of momentum. You can look at it as a bad thing, like, well, that means we're due for a bigger sort of consolidation phase or a correction, something like this, where we kind of drag out for a little bit. But I just wanted to come out and let you guys know that anything's possible. Just because we're bullish doesn't mean anything, right? If we do have a black swan event and we do come down like how we came down here, where we came up, we hit the low, and we exploded. Same thing here. We came up, we hit the low, and then we exploded. That could totally happen. And if it did happen, that would actually be a good thing, not a bad thing. That would be a good thing. Why? Because it would definitely mark the low, number one. It would definitely scare everybody out of the market, number two. It would definitely liquidate more than anything in the world, right? More than FTX, more than anything. Because if you looked at the last liquidation event, I mean, you can't even see it on Bitcoin, right? You have to go looking at Theta, this dump here was sort of that liquidation event. Let's see, Dogecoin, you can see it there. XRP, you can see it here. But it's not really that significant like C19. Of course, in market cap and dollar terms, it is much more. But as far as the price structure, it's not really. So, but if this happened, we would, number one, there would be less doubt that we're going lower, because we would, at that, if we come down fast and furious and we backtest 31K, because if you look, let me take everything off the screen, right? And I'm just kind of giving you, I don't really talk about this stuff, but the market's kind of consolidating, so I figured I'd take the time and kind of open a different door so that we can walk through it and see what that other room looks like. Not saying it's going to happen, but just so if it happens, we're prepared and we can know what to expect. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we have an A, B, C. And this ABC created a very nice looking range, right? Perfect, right? We went to the bottom, from the top to the bottom, to the top to the bottom. It was a beautiful range, right? So then what happened was, let me just extend it all the way out. What happened was we broke out of that range, right? We went 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The problem is, I wouldn't say it's a problem, but the issue is when we broke out of the range, we didn't backtest the range, right? We didn't backtest it, right? So that's, this. So for all intents and purposes, right? 31K isn't really support, and you can say, well, that's not possible when we were at 70K last month, right? We're sitting above 60K. So how can you say 31K isn't support? Obviously it is, but as far as proving itself as support, right? Because when you're in a range like this is all resistance. And when you break that resistance, right? When you break above it, you can say, well, it's no longer resistance anymore. And that's true. It's no longer resistance anymore, but it's also still not support. It's not support until it can come down and prove itself that it can hold this previous resistance and make it the new support and bounce off of it, right? That would prove that it's real support. Obviously, you don't have to backtest it, right, to prove that it's support. I'm just throwing that out there so that we can understand, in the event that it comes down, it would be actually a good thing. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if we did have some type of black swan event, they like to do them in summer. I don't know why. Sometimes they do, because Congress is in recess, right? A lot of the banks are, a lot of institutions or high level people, let's just say politicians, they're in recess, right? In August. That's why you get like, I don't want to use these words, but these false flag type of situation, and that will probably demonetize my video. But I think something like anything, right? Any type of event that can occur would, maybe it's has something to do with a war or something, but that type of situation doesn't cause the price to dump. What happens is the price dumps organically, right? Let's say we break out, we come all the way down and we back test here. I don't think that's going to happen. I'm just letting you know, I don't think that's going to happen. But I just want to showcase a sort of black swan, like an oh my God situation. If that happened, there is an event that lines up with it, but that the event didn't cause it. What happened is whoever the market makers are, whoever's controlling the prices, right? And basically a market maker isn't really, printing the candles. They're basically using an ocean of liquidity to push the market in the direction that they want, right? So if they need to wipe somebody out or short somebody or, deleverage all the positions, they can easily do that with a click of a mouse, right? It's all computers and derivatives and things like that. So we break out, we come all the way down. I'm just talking in an event. I don't think this is going to happen, but just to reiterate, if that did happen and there's some type of black swan event that's tied to it, they're going to use that event as an excuse as to why it happened, right? So that's the thing. That's kind of the thing that we got to worry about. If we come up and it looked like it was bull flagging, we're breaking out, and then bam, we get sliced right down. And it was very fast. And then all of a sudden we picked right back up and exploded. Again, I don't think that's going to happen. But it is an election year. We do have the deep state. We do have people trying to do certain things. So who knows what type of capabilities they have to sort of distract and create chaos, right? So just letting you know that. But here's the thing. If that happened, it would be the most bullish possible thing on the planet. Why? Well, I'm going to show you why. The most bearish, because when you're listening to this, you're like, oh my God, like yesterday you were so bullish, the last few weeks you've been so bullish, and you're making, giving me some confidence, and I'm feeling good about it, and now you made me feel terrible. Look, I get it, but I don't think that's going to happen. What I'm saying is, we always want to, when you drive to work, you don't think you're going to get in a car accident, right? But you still have to have car insurance in the event that happens. So think of this video as TA insurance, right? I mean, a lot of analysts, they just kind of stick to the same type of program, keeping everybody, pepped up and good. But to me, I like to, like I used to work at a school, and we would have to do drills, right? We would have to do drills. We don't expect there to be an earthquake. We don't expect there to be a fire. We don't expect there to be a shooter, right? But you have to do these drills in order to prepare for that. So think of this as a drill, right? Think of this as, opening your mind to what you would do in this event, right? Because this event would make people lose all their wealth. It truly would. If we're dumping, right? Let's say World War III is on the news and everything is so scary, and crypto is dumping, the stock market dumping. What would you do? You have to have a level-headed. You have to think clearly. You have to have a plan. You can't panic in that situation. Most people, they would capitulate. They would sell everything, right? Because the fear that has been instilled inside their veins would make them go crazy, and they would capitulate, like a lot of people did with C19. So the purpose of this video, right, is to let you know, right, not financial advice, but I'm not going to capitulate under that type of event. What I would be doing instead is buying the dip, right? Why? It's going to feel, if this happens, right? Think again, this is like an insurance policy. If this happened, right? Because you have support, resistance right here. Let me put this line right in the middle. That's basically the middle. This is sort of that, this middle line in here is sort of the kind of like that threshold that of the market structure, right? So, again, everybody, if this occurred where we just dump and dump and it feels like it's never stopping, and then bam, it bottoms out, people are selling like crazy, and then all of a sudden you get a quick reversal and everybody sold down in here, and now we're already back up here within a matter of a couple weeks, right? So you can say, well, yeah, but it would destroy the market structure. It would look like it's going to die. No. What this would be, if this occurred, because I always like to think ahead in the event that something like this happened. I don't believe it's going to happen. I don't want it to happen. But hey, we got to, the world is full of psychopaths, right? I mean, look at all the people in power. Look at the crazy central banks. Look at the all the wars they started, and these evil people that you don't really know exist, but that they're out there, right? I mean, they want you distracted on the puppets, like Elizabeth Warren. Oh, she's trying to ban crypto. No, she's not. She's not trying to ban crypto. She's a puppet. She's doing what she's told, right? She has no hand in this whatsoever. She is merely a vessel. She is an instrument of the people that are really trying to ban crypto. Who's that? The central banks. But that's a topic for a different day. So the most exciting part, what I'm about to show you is, if something blows up in the middle of the ashes, you find a treasure, right? And to me, we have, drum roll please, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All-time high, let's go, let's go, let's go. Everybody's like, okay, let's go, right? Maybe we backtest the bull market support band, then we go, but everybody's so bullish, everybody's convinced, and then what happens? Boom, boom, boom. And then the news comes out. Russia did this, or Israel did this, or they did this, or something happened, right? Some bullcrap, right? That's an excuse as to why the market's dumped. And if this happened, it would be because of the stock market, right? If the stock market took a big hit, right? And why would it do that? Well, why would crypto sell off in the event of the stock market? Because people who have, are liquidated in the stock market, they have to cover their margin. They have to cover their position. So what do? They sell the most riskiest asset, crypto, to cover their losses. So that would cause crypto to pretty much dump big time. That's exactly what happened in C19, right? So if this occurred, right? If this occurred where we get something like this, which a big sharp move down, guys, this would be the best buying opportunity you're ever going to get in your entire life. And maybe, I don't even want to translate to what the altcoins would look like. The altcoins would have gotten killed. They would probably lose their low. But that's why we use Bitcoin as a roadmap. But essentially what we would have, ready? We would have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have a 1, right? We have A, B, C. We have a 2. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you could say, okay, that's the third wave, but we come all the way back down. That's a 1, 1-2. That is the biggest 1-2-1-2 in crypto history. If that happened, we could literally see a $500,000 Bitcoin. Maybe even more. I don't know. But it would create this spring. Like, think of it like a slingshot. When you're going up, 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 you're losing momentum, and then you fizzle out. But if you have this, you stretch back and you pull and you go higher, and then you stretch like a slingshot, pull, and you just explode like a gun, like a bullet coming out of a gun, right? So that would be unbelievably insane if that occurred. So this is sort of the wild card count that could totally occur. It's very small. The chances are very, very small. Something incredibly would have to happen. But again, we are an election year, right? And everybody believes, right, the halving occurs, so we have to go up because it went up the last 2 or 3 times. Well, that's not true, because eventually people catch on to that and they think, okay, if the halving occurs, then everybody leverages long, because that's what has to happen. But if everybody's so leveraged long and everybody believes that it has to go up because it did it last time, then the market makers, they shift their algorithms, right? They make it so like, okay, everybody's long. There's too much leverage on one side of the trade. What happens when that happens? A massive liquidation event. And what do? They come out on the news and they explain some bomb or something that went off, or some war or something, right? As an excuse as to why that happened. When in reality, it's all about the order books, right? It's all about the algorithms. It's all about supply and demand. It's all about liquidity. That's what it's about. So if liquidity is, dries up here, and it's so construed to one side of the trade, you can get events like this, kind of like what happened over here, and you could say, well, that was C19 and things like that. The whole world shut down, and yeah, that's true. The news doesn't create the liquidation, but it does create sort of a snowball effect for it to, get worse. So we had the bull market, we had the bear market, we had a big pump to the upside, and we kind of flagged out. It was looking bullish. We broke above the flag. Everybody leverages up, bam, takes you out. And what did it do? Well, check this out. Let me show you. I'm talking about things you're not supposed to talk about. I'm talking about things nobody's talking about. I'm talking about things that nobody wants to talk about. But it would do you a disservice if I didn't sort of give you, it's like an earthquake drill. You don't want to do an earthquake drill, but you got to do it, in order to protect yourself in the event that we had an earthquake. So we came down, right? We built a range. Look at the range in here, right? We broke to the upside. And it looked like, okay, we're gone. We're out of here. We're going to the moon. But look what happened. We came all the way down and we back tested, ladies and gentlemen, we back tested the top of the range. And then we went to the moon. So if I translate that to over here, we could see something like that, where here's our range, right? And, everybody's anticipating, okay, we're correcting, now we should pump, right? But we correct, we pump, and then bam, and then we sort of shoot out of there and we continue to go higher, right? And that would be a 1, 2, 1, 2, and that would literally mean you're going to the moon, right? Because you would have this massive spring. Think about all the people who would buy that dip. Think about all the millionaires. Think about all the Bitcoin maxis. Think about all the crypto guys that, are they really buying the dip? I mean, yeah, they're probably DCAing, but they're not like taking large amounts of money. If this occurred, you would get a large amount of people putting tons of money into the market, which would basically, reset the order book and catapult the price, right? Basically, I'm taking a disaster that could potentially occur, and I'm allowing everyone to understand that if this happened, please, I can't give financial advice, but I'll just tell you what I would do. I would not sell. I would not panic. It's going to feel bad, right? It's very hard to imagine something like this, right? Especially the way someone would feel emotionally, psychologically, right? You can't even begin to think what it would feel like, right? So until you're in that moment. But I'm just putting this video out because if that occurred and you feel in that moment like, oh my God, I just lost everything. I lost everything. My life is over, right? All my crypto, I mean, it feels like you're done, right? But you're only done if you're leveraged, and you're only done if you sell. If you hodl and you buy the dip and you don't look at it and you just wait out the storm, because it's going to be a storm, right? If it occurred, we're basically in the eye of the storm, then, crypto sort of rises, right? Like a phoenix out of the ashes. So some type of insane event could do that, right? Especially in a presidential election year, right? Because they like to do certain chaotic type of things. But if that occurred, what would Theta do if that happened? Right? For example, what would Theta do? Well, it would probably make a new low. It would probably, wick down here and then come off. I don't know if it would break the low, but we would probably wick down there very fast and then just continue to go higher, right? So can you imagine it's like below 50 cents or below 60 cents and we just went bam, because there's everybody's stop loss is under here. So if we go under there just a centimeter, right? A half a penny, then it's going to cause a lot of liquidations, and a lot of people would absorb that liquidity and take it higher, right? So it would kind of be an awkward. So essentially it would be an ABC. So we would have an A, right, down here, and then this would be one. Let me take everything off the screen so we can see a little better. This is an insurance policy. I don't think this is going to happen, right? I got to keep saying that because sometimes people will skip the video and they're going to be like, what the hell is he talking about? Well, if you watch the whole thing, you'll get an understanding. But essentially, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then we have an A, B, C, right? And we have NC, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if it's going to happen, it would happen now. It would happen sometime soon. And then basically you have an A right here. You come up for B right here. And then it would be a very fast and quick C because it would be a liquidation. So it would be like 1, 2. It would kind of play around. It looks like it's bull flagging out, kind of like what Bitcoin did before it went bam, right? And then it would come up. And it would be a very awkward looking A, B, C moonshot. So A, B, C moonshot. And that sort of would line up with what would Bitcoin do. Now, I'm not saying, I have no clue what it would look like for the altcoins. I would assume they would get beat up a lot more. Let's see. Let's think about XRP in that type of event. So XRP kind of has that look already, that, you have this bear flag, the channels that go up usually break down. But we're looking at it as a contracting triangle. It has a good possibility of breaking up. But essentially, you would have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3. And we would probably get down to about 17 cents or this low in here. So it would be about that 17-cent area. And that would just wipe out everything, right? And essentially, you would have a moonshot after that. So you would have 1, 2, whoops, you would have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and it looks like a triangle, but then that last wave ends up being a WXY, right? Bam, to the downside. And this rising trend line is all that engineered where the liquidity rests beneath, right? And then you come down very fast, very furious, and then you come up, you flag out, and then you take off. So when you zoom out, it's kind of like, kind of like an ABC, I guess you can say, but it's more three-wave-ish. Basically, you have 1, 2, and 3, and then go. This is an insurance policy. This is a black swan type of video in the event that occurs. I didn't plan on doing this. When I do a video, I kind of just go, right? And I just kind of express my thoughts. A lot of people have notes. A lot of people have bullet points, what they want to talk about. I just kind of freestyle. So I was kind of originally going to do Litecoin and talk about the other coins, but I just go based off my instinct. I go based off my urge, my gut feeling of what needs to be said at a specific day. Like, for example, I talked about Litecoin yesterday. I mean, why? I don't know. I just did. And then look what Litecoin did today, right? I'm not saying I knew that was going to happen. Just let's get that clear. I did not know today was going to be a bullish engulfing candle and the rest of the market didn't. I didn't know that. But I kind of have good instincts, not trying to brag or anything, but I play off those instincts, and I think everybody should, right? You should play off your instincts. So that would pretty much sum up what I have to say with this video here. Basically, and just to give you a look with something like a meme coin, right? I mean, you could literally come all the way down and back test the top of this, and the cool thing about liquidations is they happen very fast. It's like you rip the Band-Aid off and it's boom, it's over, right? But it happens so quick that it makes people, capitulate. So what you would have with Dogecoin, right, is you would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you would have an A, B, and a C, and then you continue higher. So you have a proper ABC. I don't know if that's the case. Let's look at a different coin, just to kind of like Ethereum. Let's look at Ethereum. Come on, Ethereum. So basically with Ethereum, right, I mean, here's that base where Bitcoin is, right? So I would expect something like that. Now, as far as Theta and Doge, maybe it holds a low, right? Maybe it doesn't. But since Bitcoin and Theta, or Bitcoin and Ethereum, are closer to their all-time highs, they have more wiggle room to the downside. So, you want to say that this is a 1, 2, 1, 2, and we have a 3, but it could also be, an A, and then we have a B, and now we're in C, right? Or A, B, and C. So this would be an A, this would be a B, and then we come down, we flash very quickly, and we backtest all of this very quickly, and then continue higher. And that would scare the living daylights out of everybody, right? But all it would be doing is just, a liquidation, right? And taking out everything. Now, here's the thing. We just had a pretty big liquidation, right? Like, when I go to, let's go back to the total. We'll go to the total market cap. You can't really see it on this one because it more so happened with the alts. We didn't really have a big liquidation with Bitcoin. But essentially, we had this big dump in here. I mean, we dropped from 776 billion all the way down, right? About $215 billion was wiped out, right? So we already had a pretty big liquidation, right? Because when you look at C19 and what happened over there, right, we really didn't have any pre-liquidation events, right? Because we were basically going up, 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 and then we dumped. So with what's happening now, this is why I don't believe it will happen. But I still need to address it because I want to protect people if they take into consideration what I have to say, not financial advice, but if that event occurs, go into it knowing, you're prepared, right? Like the earthquake drill, you're in school, you do an earthquake, you don't expect it to happen, but if it does, you're prepared. That's what it's about. It's not about me saying this is what's going to happen, this is what I believe is going to. I don't believe that, but it would be a disservice if we didn't talk about things that people don't really want to talk about because it makes them feel uncomfortable. But we have to. So we can see the price coming up, and we already had a pretty big dump right here. So I wouldn't think that it would be followed by another big liquidation. It totally could be, right? A, B, maybe we go up a little bit more, and then we slam all the way down. And then people say, okay, here's the bear market. The bear market is here. The bear market is here, right? Everybody's going to say bear market, but what they don't really understand is, no, the bear market just ended. Everybody's going to believe that the bear market just started. But we're going to know that it just ended. And you could say, well, what do you mean? Because it ended, right? This whole thing, right, is a bull run. Then we went into a bear market. Now we're in a retracement. A retracement is not a bull market. A retracement is a retracement, right? So we're in a bear market. We're in the middle of the base of the bear market. Now we're in a retracement. And then bam, that was the final capitulation in the bear market. So we have a rise, crash, retrace. We go all the way down, and it was sort of like a V-shaped reaccumulation situation, right? Before blasting off, right? So everybody's going to go short. Everybody sells everything because they think, what? We have another 3 years of bear market. They're going to believe that, okay, every other bear market lasted about 2 or 3 years. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sell, right? Everybody's going to probably sell, which is going to cause the cascading event, right? But what they don't realize is that was the end of the bear market. So we have an A, B, and sort of a flat C. I mean, if we took out this low, we would have to wick it really, really fast, very fast. Because if we start trading bodies beneath that low, then you risk, coming down even lower, somewhere around here, right? Somewhere around there, which you can't even picture it. You can't even fathom that. But, it's crypto. Anything can happen with crypto. It's very volatile. When you think it's, going the right direction and you feel comfortable and confident, boom, something happens. So, a lot of people will believe that the bear market just started, but will know it just ended. Because look at this base down here. What I would believe is here's our base, right? We broke out. We kind of back tested a little bit, but at first glance, we would probably come all the way down and back test it. Maybe even get a little bit lower and back test this area right here, around 361 billion, right? Because that was the beginning of that first wave. So 1, 2, and that's your first wave in here. So look at that drop. That is an insane drop if that happened, right? We come all the way down. Everybody's completely just going crazy. Twitter, the sky is falling. I mean, literally doomsday. I mean, maybe even people committing suicide. It would be very bad, right? But in the middle of the chaos, we have opportunity. Nobody is talking about this, right? Because why would you? Everybody's feeling good. We're at the all-time high. We're above the bull market support band. Crypto is recovering. Nobody would even think about something like this. But that's the difference between me and other channels is I like to, when everybody feels good about something, that's when I start getting worried. Not saying, again, I'm not believing this is going to happen, but I want to be prepared and I want to talk about it in the event that it does occur. So, and if it does occur, I'm not going to come out and say, see, I told you I was right. No, I'm not going to do that. That's totally disrespectful. I'm going to say, we talked about it, but I didn't know it was going to happen, right? I'm not bragging like, oh, it happened. I was right, because this is not my thought. I believe we're going to, finish this correction and hopefully continue the bull market, right? So if it did happen, again, I'm not going to come out and say, see, I knew it was going to happen. I didn't know. This is an insurance policy. So, and here's the reason why I don't think it's going to happen. So I'm going to wrap the video. I know I'm over an hour, but this is the reason why I don't believe it's going to happen. Ready? Because look at the base. You see this base right here? It's a pretty big base, which means we're probably not going to break the low. We could back test it, but I don't think we're going to. Look at the difference over here, right? Let me go to Bitcoin for this, and I'll explain why. You could see, right, when Bitcoin came down, it wasn't, we traded here just a couple, not that long, maybe like a month, and then we shot all the way up. Well, first of all, the base was very, very small. Second of all, the move to the upside was very impulsive, no bases like over here, right? And then the move back down, that's what, caused it. But when you look over here, we actually have a proper base, right? Especially in the altcoins, right? We have a proper base in here. And then we broke out, we built another proper base in here, right? So we have two bases of support, which led to this rally. So if we did get a big sharp move down, it would probably, just back test it here before going higher. And when you look at it, when you zoom out, it looks like pretty much nothing, right? We have a 1, we have, it's pretty much looks normal, right? We have this move all the way to the upside. We have a pullback, and then we have a continuation. Doesn't that look normal to you? But believe me, if that happened, it would not feel normal. It would not look normal. But when you look at on the chart, it looks like a regular, not out of the question, not out of the realm of possibility type of a pullback. I mean, look how long this move is, and look how big the pullback would be before continuing higher, right? So, to me, if that happened, it would be the best opportunity of a lifetime. And that's why I'm talking about it. So that's kind of what I wanted to explain today. Now, since when you look at things like Theta, right? Now, when you look at Theta, look at the base. This is another reason why I don't think we're going to break the low. Number one, we have Wyckoff accumulation, right? Number two, we have a big base down in here. Number three, we broke out. We could come down and back to it. Here's the cool part about it. If Bitcoin did it, it would be very, very far away. If Theta did it, it's not that far away, right? I mean, and we've talked about this too. I mean, coming back down to that $1.30 area, that's always a possibility, right? Because here's your resistance, resistance, resistance. You break out, and then we have an A, B, C, and we can backtest it. What did we talk about? We said this could be a 1, 2, 1, 2. I said if this happened, that would be very, very bullish, right? If we continue to pump to the upside, it'd probably be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we would consolidate in the retracements before heading higher. So that's kind of where we're at here. And then, for XRP, it would be A, come up for B, and then we come down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, down for C, right? Probably revisit the low or maybe hopefully a little bit higher. Now, if it gets really bad, we could break the low, and it would be something like a three-way move before going to the moon. So, a lot could happen during that type of event. But sort of the main thing I wanted to say was the back test of 31K, right? $31,000. When we were over here, I talked about the possibility of back testing at least the bull market support band. It didn't happen. So let's go back and look over here. Look at this. And this is why, right? Here's our base, right? Our first base. We broke out, we back tested it. We broke out of that, we back tested this. And then here's our new base right in here. We broke out of that, and then we came all the way down and we back tested that. I mean, look at that. So 1, 2, third breakout, we back tested. Now, when you look back over here, we have the same thing, right? We have our first base, we broke out, back test. We have our second base, we broke out, but we didn't back test. You can say, well, because it's more bullish, whatever the case. I'm just stating the facts here, right? I'm not trying to build an argument of it, but here's another example. I mean, it back tested a lot back in the day. So we broke out, we back tested the top. Then we continued higher, we broke out of this top, and then we came all the way down, we back tested this top, right? And then it kept doing it. Look at this. We broke out, we had a top, we pulled back down, right? We broke this top, and we came all the way down, and we back tested this as well, and we continued higher. It wasn't until we broke the all-time high, that's when the back test wasn't really necessary. So we could argue that, yeah, we don't need a back test anymore because we're already approaching that point. So the very minimum of a back test would be about 50K, right? So let's look at the daily chart real quick and talk about that in here. So at the very least, right, if we didn't have that big liquidation like we were talking about, it would be somewhere between 47 and 53K. That would be a normal pullback. This is sort of the bearish opportunity, right? The bearish case, right? So instead of coming all the way back down to back test this area, we would come in basically back test this area here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C. We get down in here. And you can say, yeah, well, we'll lose the bull market support band and all that stuff, especially if we come down in here. But I think we would quickly reverse that. It wouldn't even matter. And you could say, there's no way in hell we can get down here. Not with the ETF, not with the halving, not with everybody. Yeah, and that's true, right? The only way that would work is if we had, again, a big liquidation event where basically you're wiping out all the leveraged longs on the order book, which would cause a cascading price. It doesn't necessarily mean all the people who are accumulating, right? It's all about, the volume in the market and the liquidity and, different, the volume at that specific time. So, but yeah, when you look at, the actual investment of people buying and hodling, that's why it would, in my opinion, if that occurred, it would quickly recover. So we have two insurance policies. We have number one, which would be a standard type of situation, maybe a big dump in the stock market, nothing too significant, but the really, really bad one would be down in here. So we would come all the way down and revisit that. So that's sort of everything I want to say. Now, I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're going to hold above the bull market support band. If we lose the bull market support band, then I'm going to start talking about the possibility more so, right? But right now, there's no reason for me to be bearish because, what we've talked about many times is this is an A, this is a B, and a C. We took out the liquidity right here, and now we have a 1, 2. I would like to see us hold some support and continue pumping. If we lose support and come down, that's perfectly okay. We test the bull market support band, we continue higher, right? Same thing with the altcoins. The price of Theta, we already did test the bull market support band. So, maybe we come down and retest it at a lower area, whatever the case may be. But, at the face of it, right, we have an impulse, right? And we have a beautiful A, B, C correction. Back test the bull market support band. Now we're right at resistance. Now we're bumping our head a little bit. We can either pull down and break and make an attempt, a slingshot, or we can consolidate in here, grinding up, and then continue breaking out. So, and then one thing on Bitcoin, we want to see this thing break to the upside. Once we break out, then we don't have that sort of dark cloud of the unknown, because we still haven't technically broken out of the all-time high. We've been consolidating at and around it, but we need conviction. We need a power move. We need a God candle that sort of separates us from all those possibilities. So let's see the smaller time frame. Let's take a peek at it. If you're still with me, congratulations. Most people would have already left the video by now. All due respect, it is time concerns, right? But I felt like it was necessary. I don't really do these videos often, but again, assurance policy is always good to cover, right? So the lower time frame, it kind of looks like a flat, right? We have an A, B, C, and now we're pulling down. I would like us to get back up here, right? But if we come back up and then come back down, then it would make more sense to finish out this move. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. And then we start to make a base and we continue higher. So we want to see a higher low come in, right? We have our double bottom here. We came back up, working on this correction in here before angling back to the upside. So we'll keep an eye on it. Check out this screenshot. I think this meeting was a few days ago, but you could pause the video and look at all these people. By the way, there's the head of public policy, Ripple. So Ripple, again, hanging out with all these big level people. You do have Chainlink over there, and you have Stellar. So pretty high level people. Interesting. If you haven't seen it, I did a video yesterday on Litecoin. If you want to know more about Litecoin and things like that, check out that video. I did see this interesting type of fractal. It's not really good at all, but it kind of just, not a fractal sense, but kind of showing the stages of what this ending sort of reaccumulation phase can look like. So one of them's more of a range, one of them's more of a wave. So kind of interesting. We'll see. But if that's true, it would imply that the bottom is in and we're ready to rock and roll. All right, guys, that'll do it for this video. If you guys want to hit that like button, that's always very appreciative. Drop a comment. What did you think about that? Do you think I'm just totally crazy for even talking about it? Do you think, it's got at least a 1% chance of happening? Maybe a 0% chance, right? Do you think maybe that's what you're leaning towards? I would really love to know your thoughts on what we discussed today. Do you think that would be a good opportunity? Because, again, we're in an election year. We're a black swan event, right? I mean, this is really the battle of all battles between the power of the presidency and the deep state and all of those things that you're really not supposed to talk about. So, central banks and things like that. And a lot of things could happen, right? So this video is not to scare anybody. This video is not to say that that's what's going to happen. This video is just to inform you that if it did happen, we would look at a 1-2-1-2. And a 1-2-1-2 and a back test of that range would be incredibly bullish, right? Just like the time of C19 where we back tested the range in there. So I mean, it would be a beautiful type of situation, I think, for opportunity. Now, in the middle of it would be terrible, but down the road, because if this happened and you look back 5 years from now, you're gonna thank God that it happened, because you were able to, buy more than you ever thought, right? I mean, come on, if Theta's sitting below $1, wouldn't you buy it? Or XRP sitting at 17 cents? I mean, you can load up the truck, because you know what you hold. You know the fundamental value. You know the utility value of what you hold. You know the future is crypto. You know the future of finance is crypto. You know what you hold, right? You know exactly the power of what you hold, and how adoption and regulation and utility is going to shape the way we see crypto. So, it would be a blessing in disguise, so to speak. But anyways, that'll do it. If you guys want to support the channel, that's always very appreciative. I got 4 addresses down here through the YouTube tip jar. And if you have any coins you want me to take a look at, you can also drop them in the comment section. But honestly, let me know your thoughts about that. And if you want more videos of certain circumstances like this, let me know as well. And I will catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.